Tez Walker has been ruled eligible. The NCAA has deemed North Carolina receiver Tez Walker eligible after receiving new information from the school. And I'll read it as follows to see if this affects Darrell Jackson in the way that we're all certainly hoping that it does. The NCAA staff reviewed new information regarding University of North Carolina student-athlete Tez Walker this week. Staff determined the new information qualifies Walker for a transfer waiver. The information had not been made available by UNC previously, despite the school's multiple chances to do so. So they take a shot, by the way, at North Carolina, saying that North Carolina had not done what it needed to do. Quote, "It is unfortunate that North Carolina failed to provide this important information previously. While we must be careful not to compromise a student-athlete's right to privacy when it comes to sensitive issues, we want to assure the Division I membership and everyone watching how the new transfer rules are applied, that this meets the new transfer waiver standards. UNC's behavior and decision to wage a public relations campaign is inappropriate and outside the bounds of the process UNC's own staff supported. Had the North Carolina staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago, this entire unfortunate episode could have been avoided." This, according to NCAA President Charlie Baker and Division I Board of Directors Chair Jeer Moorhead, president of the University of Georgia. Well, now, listen, if you're North Carolina, you got what you needed, got what you wanted here in the form of Tez Walker's eligibility. I will say it would take every ounce of strength that you could muster not to retort. Please allow me to retort, one would think, because this is as uppity and high and mighty and ridiculous from the NCAA as you could possibly get. Now, here's where the NCAA never gets the benefit of the doubt. Their abhorrent decision-making process and behavior rarely allows for one to side in their favor. And for them to take the low road rather than the high road here, this could have been an admonishment done behind the scenes. This could have been, all right, listen, he's eligible now. But, oh, by the way, dumbasses, it's your fault he wasn't eligible to start the year, just so we're clear. And that is a letter that could have been written as opposed to a public statement tisking North Carolina. And I have no sympathy for North Carolina most days either, given their history within the NCAA and the things that happened with a certain class and how it was that they were not reprimanded in the same fashion that many other schools, including Florida State, have been over the years. I don't know that this falls under the umbrella of good news for Florida State and Darrell Jackson most notably. But I do know that Florida State has not made a public spectacle of this, and if that's what really upset the NCAA, they do not have that as ammunition to hold against Florida State and in particular Darrell Jackson. I don't know what it was that North Carolina allegedly did not offer up to the NCAA that would have allowed for immediate eligibility. Don't know what it is. Did they find something health-related? Because they certainly reference sensitive issues. Typically, they're talking about health issues when it is sensitive issues or family issues, things that affect a family or an individual from a health standpoint, a legal standpoint, whatever it might be. Darrell Jackson's plea to the NCAA is rooted in a family concern for his mother, which is a very public thing that we understand to be the case. And that wasn't enough for the NCAA prior to the season and even in season to say yes. So I'm curious what happened today with the NCAA, what happened with North Carolina, and whether or not it will have a direct impact the way we once thought it would, that if, in fact, Tez Walker was deemed eligible, Darrell Jackson would be deemed eligible, and that they both got in their transfer ahead of the transfer rules changing. The significant changes that were made into this rule by the NCAA happened after they had already submitted and transferred. So it never seemed fair regardless. Now I don't know if it will have an impact. We do know already, just to remind folks, that Darrell Jackson is eligible to play if Florida State is to make it to the college football playoff. He can play, he can start, and he's continuing to practice. He's had an impact on practice, so he's in shape and ready to go. It would be, suffice to say, Tom Lang, huge news if Darrell Jackson were to be declared eligible, if this was one of many stepping stones and this the final. Okay, we've cleared Tez Walker. we now have to clear Darrell Jackson. The next statement will be from the NCAA or from Florida State saying that that is the case. We hope. I don't know if it's going to be, but if it is, it significantly changes Florida State's level of dominance on defense up front, because that guy, in my opinion, instantly becomes your best defensive lineman.
This is just a preposterous last half an hour. I mean, so you're going to tell me that it's the dude that's working at the NCAA and they're saying, hey, new stuff has come to light, man.
Right.
New stuff has come to life because North Carolina compliance didn't fire off an email it was supposed to or attach a PDF file with evidence.
I refuse to believe that. I can't believe that.
Here.
I'm sure that didn't happen.
You think Mac Brown's walking down the hallway at the compliance office?
Hey, did we ever send that text?
Hey, Ted, you sent that, right? Mac, I am so sorry. Well, Ted, you're fired after you send this email. But go ahead and send that right now.
No, I can't believe that's possibly
way.
true. But
There's
the thing is, this would be the kind of petty maneuvering that you would see from the NCAA, where they already know they look bad. They've taken a beating from a public relations standpoint. Nationally, had the UNC staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago, this entire unfortunate episode could have been avoided. Now, that's nonsense. Something to point out here, Tom, that if you look at this statement yet again, I want to focus on one part of this, where they're basically admitting to you that they made this kid suffer because they did not appreciate the way North Carolina went on a quote-unquote public relations campaign. You ready? The decision to wage a public relations campaign is inappropriate and outside the bounds of process UNC's own staff supported. Had North Carolina not behaved in this fashion, you stop there.
Wow. That's on the record?
That's the same thing I read before, but I only now noticed that they are incorporating this as one of, along with the absent information reasons that they did not give this kid his eligibility. They're saying it in print. Had North Carolina staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago. So they're telling you they penalized that kid because they were mad at North Carolina's public relations campaign, in addition to not having the information allegedly that they needed to give that kid his eligibility. That is some petty nonsense and, well...
And North Carolina did respond to it, which I was interested to see if they would.
We are happy that Tez Walker is now eligible to play and enjoy doing what he loves to do. However, stop moving around. We're good. The justification provided by the NCAA today is not accurate. The university submitted all necessary information and documentation as it was made available to us at the time, and we still believe Tez met all standards for the waiver in early August. It is not clear why the NCAA delayed making the correct decision then, but we are pleased to get to the appropriate resolution now. Good. I'm glad he did. And it's hard for me to back North Carolina with all the nonsense that they've been the benefactor of over the years. But come on, man.
I think it's still a work. This is all a charade.
Oh, planned by the NCAA and North Carolina hand in hand? We're going to say this and look petty. You retort. We'll have it go back and forth, and that way nobody will focus on the fact that we F this thing up from the get-go?
I think it is because they have a shield, which is new stuff has come to light.
Yeah.
I stick to that. Like so if they are pressed by Florida State or by any other institution about, well, wait a minute, Goose Gander here. Why are we good now with his eligibility and not ours when we have similar situations? Well, look, there was new information that they submitted.
Some new things.
What is the new information? Well, we're not going to disclose that, privacy concerns.